Okay, so what is today's topic? What is today's topic, guys? It's called as operator overloading, correct? It is operator overloading. Okay, so any idea what do you mean by operator overloading? Kirtana Ganapati, can you unmute yourself and talk to me?
Yes, sir. Like how we use the method, same method with different functions,
Same method
like
with
the same name but different functionality
I didn't
or for
understand. What is
different
it?
purpose.
No, I didn't get you. What is it?
Now, how we use method overloading, right? With the
Okay.
same name, but we'll use for different functionalities.
Method overloading is not there in Python, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. So what is operator overloading?
Like similarly, same operator which can be used for one or more operations. I'm not very sure. I'm just guessing.
Okay. So anyone else who can? Danya Manjunath, you're there?
Yes, sir, I am here.
Yeah, Danya. Tell me, what do you mean by operator overloading?
Sir, it is something like, I can give an example, sir.
No, don't give me example. Tell me what it
Like
is.
we can, the plus sign is used for adding two numbers and also concatenation.
Okay. Right. Okay. So what is operator overloading?
With the same similar name, we define different functions,
Okay.
perform different operations.
What is that? Different operations means what?
Sorry, sir, I can't hear you.
No, what do you mean by different operations? Different operations means what?
Different operations in the
Yeah,
sense.
see, there are many textbooks which will tell you this. Okay, you can use that operator for different operations, or you can do multiple things with an operator and all that. I mean, it's all wrong. It's all absolutely wrong. That is not operator loading. Anyone else who can answer? Who knows? Put that in the chat box if you know. If you don't know, say don't know, so that I'll go ahead. Anyone else? But the example that Danya Manjunath gave is right, but the explanation is wrong. Okay, so anyone knows what do you mean by operator overloading? Okay, very simple. Listen to me carefully. When you make, okay, say for example, when you have, okay, listen to me. When we have 6 plus 7, okay, so when we have 6 plus 7, normally these operators are used to work on fundamental data types. Yes or no? Operators are used to work on fundamental data types. Agree, disagree? Like 6 and 7 and normal numbers. Yes, no? Right? Agree? I mean, I want everyone to put that in the chat box, not one or two. I want everyone to put that. Okay. Normally, we have operators to work on your fundamental data types. Correct? Yeah. But when we want our operators to work on user-defined objects, when we want our operators to work on user-defined objects, okay, is when we call that the operator has been overloaded. You getting what I'm saying? Okay, when you make your operator work on user-defined objects, that is when you call that an operator has been overloaded. But many textbooks will tell you making your operator do different things is basically called as operator overloading. That is wrong. Through user-defined objects, I mean through few specific functions we can do it. But see, the definition is like this: making your operator to work on user-defined objects is basically called as operator overloading. And you don't find those definitions in any textbooks and all those things. Doesn't mean whatever I'm saying is wrong. Okay, but that is how it is, right? So making your operator work on any user-defined objects is basically called as operator overloading. Guys, did you understand this before proceeding further? Do you understand this? Making your operator work on, I'm repeating so that it goes and sits in your head. Making your operator, okay, work on a user defined objects is basically called as operator overloading. Did you understand this? Put that in the chat box if you understood. Put that in the chat box quickly, everyone. Yes, no. Yes, no. Understood? Okay. So shall we go and see how to do that? Shall we go ahead and see how to do that? Okay. Yeah. So fine. The Tanya Manjunath, can you be there with me for while I navigate through the code?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no problem. You have no problem with data and all that?
No.
Okay, so fine. So we'll go with this. Okay, so tell me what is there over here now? What is there? Operator overloading. Can you explain what is there in this program?
We have a class named classy.
Okay, one second. Wait, 1 second. I'll put it in a single page. Okay, yeah. Now tell me.
And we are defining init functions.
Okay, so we have a class named classy. Okay, then.
And
we
then
have a constructor function, special function that is constructor. Okay.
Yeah.
And you can see another function which is special underscore underscore add underscore underscore. Did you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we have another special function called as underscore underscore str underscore underscore. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Do you know when this function is called underscore underscore str underscore underscore? I told you this. When do you think this function is getting called, guys? Tell me, put that in the chat box. When do you think this function gets called? Do you remember I told you underscore underscore str underscore underscore and underscore underscore repr underscore underscore? Exactly, Lakshmi Krishna Bhai, right? Okay. When I try to print an object, that str underscore underscore str gets called. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Continue, Danya. Continue.
Sir, in the first instance, we are adding the two objects.
Hey,
is-
where you are adding two objects? No, you are start from here. Start from here.
Okay. So we are passing two parameters 1 and 2,
What are we doing in this line?
creating an object. Sir.
Exactly. So we are creating an object and calling a parameterized constructor. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, everyone put that in the chat box. We are creating an object. And what is the name of the object?
COBJ1.
Yeah, that is the name we are given to the first object. Correct? No? Everyone put that in the chat box. Everyone. Everyone, yes or no? Right? Yeah, we are creating an object, right? Now, okay, now continue the name Manjunath. So when we are trying to create an object, what will happen?
These two parameters 1 and 2 will be passed to self.
That is this,
Yeah.
it will not be passed to self. The constructor will be called, yes or no?
Yes,
The
sir.
constructor will be called, and the self is nothing but the first object. Okay, and then A would be
A,
this
one,
one, and B would
and
be
B.
this two, yes or no? So
Yes.
the first object I'm creating two, what is that? Instance variables, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
For the first object, I'm creating two instance variable. Agree, disagree?
Agree, sir.
If suppose this is your heap, on the heap, I'm creating the first object. What is the name of the object? COBJ1. I'll call it as C1. COBJ1. Okay. And this has two instance variables. What are they? Underscore underscore A underscore underscore B. Correct. And its value is what? 1 and 2. Agree?
Yes, sir.
So I have created one object, okay, with so with the instance variables as 1 and 2. Okay, fine. What is the next thing that I'm doing in the next line?
We are creating another object COBJ2.
Exactly. We are creating another object with the name. I'll call it as C2, COBJ2. Okay, and then
And then we are passing the same parameters again, 1 and 2.
yeah. So what will happen?
For the self dot underscore A is equal to 1 and underscore B is 2.
These two, correct? So totally,
Yes.
how many objects do we have now?
2 objects.
Two objects we have, correct? No, on the heap we have two objects. Everyone agree with that, guys? Just say two objects, yes? Yeah. Okay, cool. Now, then in the third line, what am I doing? Danya Manjunath, can you tell me what is happening in the third line?
We are adding two objects.
We are adding, we are trying to add these two objects, correct? No? We are trying to add these two objects, yes or no, guys? Yes or no? But see here, listen to me very carefully. When we are trying to add these two objects, okay, but these are user defined objects, no? If it is 6 plus 7, yes, we can do the addition, yes or no? Manjunath?
Yes, sir.
If it was 9 plus 2, yes, we can do the addition, yes or no, guys? Put that in the chat box. Yes or no, guys? Correct? No, we can do the addition like that. Whereas whatever is there in the material here is that I am not adding two numbers. Rather, what am I adding?
Two objects.
What am I adding? Two objects. Put that in the chat box. What am I adding? I'm adding two objects. Correct? No? It means I am trying to use this plus operator, okay, on two user-defined objects. Correct? No?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, correct? No?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Yeah, but how will Python know to add these two objects? Yes or no, guys? Say yes, no. Okay. How do Python knows if it was 6 and 7? Yes, Python knows, the operator knows that, okay, 6 is a number, 7 is a number, 6 plus 7 will be 13. 13 would be the answer. Correct, no?
Yes, sir.
Everyone okay with that? Okay. But in this case, what is happening is I am trying to put a plus operator on a user defined object. Yes or no? So when I'm doing a user defined object, okay, your compiler, that is your Python does not know how to add, okay, no, or what to do. So for that reason, so what is this called as? This line is trying to overload your plus operator. Agree, disagree? You understand what I'm saying? This line is said to be, okay, trying to overload plus operator. That is nothing but trying to make your plus work on user defined objects. And if it has to, if you want to do this, okay, now generally tell me, generally when I say COBJ1 plus COBJ2, okay, basically in a general sense, what are you trying to do? Generally, though this is not allowed, but generally what are you trying to do? If suppose someone sees this COBJ1 plus COBJ2, what is that they're trying to do? What will they understand? Then can you tell me?
They are adding the two numbers, sir.
No, yeah. If it is
Respective
COBJ1
numbers.
and COBJ2 means,
Yeah.
generally what is the meaning? Okay,
We are
if I
adding
see
two
this, what will I
objects.
say? I feel that, okay, let me add underscore underscore A of
Yeah.
C1 with underscore underscore A of A2, and
Yeah.
then underscore underscore B of A1, I mean C1 with underscore underscore B of C2. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And after adding these two, I can store it into one more object called as C3, which will have A and B is equal to 3 and 3. Agree? Agree, guys? Just tell me. Okay, don't you think this is what I'm trying to do over here? Can we do this? Correct?
Yes.
No? So yeah, so what happens is, this is what I'm trying to do now. So how do I do that? So whenever you're doing operator overloading, okay, for the certain operators, there is a special function given. Okay, so for plus, the function is nothing but underscore underscore add underscore underscore. Okay, so when you try to add two objects using plus, and if you want to overload plus operator, then it is mandatory that you have to write the code. It means, what do you mean by adding these two objects? What is that you are trying to do? That must be defined inside this function called as underscore underscore add underscore underscore. It means that, guys, listen to me carefully. When the Python compiler sees this statement, okay, that COBJ3, this is not given in textbook, so listen to me very carefully, okay, because I understand the internal working of Python compiler. I'm trying to explain it to you. So listen to me. When it says COBJ3 is equal to COBJ1 plus COBJ2, the compiler will convert something like this, okay, to this statement to COBJ3 is equal to, okay, COBJ1, okay, dot underscore underscore add underscore underscore, and the second parameter would be passed as this, I mean the second operand after your plus operator will be passed as the parameter to this function COBJ2. Guys, is it making sense for you guys? Okay, this line COBJ3 is equal to COBJ1 plus COBJ2 will be converted by the compiler, or would be treated by the compiler as COBJ3 is equal to, so COBJ1 dot add and pass the second operand as the parameter. Guys, did you understand this line? Do you understand this line? Okay, yes or no? Yes or no, guys? Everyone, put that in the comment box. I can explain once again. Don't worry. Okay, did you understand what I'm trying to tell you over here? Right? So, yes or no, everyone? Everyone? This line will be converted to this line. So, what happens here is that, so now, is COBJ1 containing an add function? Is COBJ1 containing an add function? Yes, no? Danya Manjunath, you can unmute here. You can mute. I'll call you.
I'm muted, sir. It's the other person.
Oh, is it? Okay. Fine. So when I'm calling COBJ1.add, which function would be called? See, does COBJ1 object have add function, add method? Tell me, put that in the chat box. Does it have an add method? Does COBJ1 has an add method? Yes, no, guys, tell me whether it has or not. Put that in the chat box. Does it have an, hey, Danya Manjunath, who said no? It is having no add method. See here. Yeah, Akshata, what are you saying? It has add method or not? It has an add method, no? Akshata, unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Then what are you doing? What are you saying?
Sir, sorry, sir.
It has an add method, no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so when this add method is called, what will happen? What will happen when this add method is called? Tell me, whenever you call in any method with respect to object, what will happen?
Sir?
Tell me what will happen when you call any method with respect to an object, what will happen?
The object's reference would be passed.
Exactly. So this line will get converted to what? Underscore underscore add underscore underscore bracket. This COBJ1's reference would be passed as what? As a self, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Comma, this would get passed as it is, COBJ2, correct? No?
Yes, sir.
Yes or not? Okay, that is what is the self and this obj. Did you get that? So when I say
Yes, sir.
cobj1 plus cobj2, okay, this add method is getting called. Now can you put that in the chat box? What is there in self? Akshata, what is there in self, Akshata?
COBJ1's reference.
Okay, so COBJ1's reference is there. Correct now? Because I've told you over here. This gets passed. This gets passed internally as the first parameter. Okay. And what is the second parameter, Akshata?
The object COBJ2.
COBJ2. Is everyone okay with that? Is everyone okay with that? This will contain COBJ1. Okay. And this will contain COBJ2. I cannot simplify it further. Did you guys understand this? Yes or no? Yes, no, guys, everyone. Yeah. Okay. Then what am I doing? Then what is that I'm doing? Listen to me carefully. Okay. Then what is that I'm doing over here? Okay. Now let me get into this method. Shall I get into the method? Shall I get into the method? Yeah. Once I get into that method, okay. Tell me what is self dot a? What is self dot a? Whose a is this? When I say self underscore underscore a, whose a is this? Whose a is this? Quickly put that in the chat box. Self dot underscore underscore a means whose underscore underscore a is this? COBJ1. Correct? No, everyone quickly. Yeah. What is that value? What is COBJ1's a? What is it? What is it value? 1 plus. Okay. OBJ means what? Whose a is this? OBJ dot underscore underscore a. Whose a is this? COBJ2. What is its value? What is its value? Is it 2 or 1? Is it 2 or 1? 2 or 1? See properly. See properly. Everyone. 2 or 1? 1, no? Yeah, it is 1. Okay. Okay. So what does this become? What does this entire thing become now? What does this entire thing become? Okay. When I add these two, what will it become? It becomes 2, correct? Yeah. So this one will become 2. Okay. Comma. What is self underscore b plus obj dot b? What does this become? Self underscore b is what? What is self underscore b? Self dot underscore underscore b. Okay, it is 2, correct? And yeah, obj1's 2, right? Plus self dot underscore. I think it should be 1 second. Okay, it should have been obj. Okay, it's wrong. It is obj2 dot b. Obj dot 2 underscore underscore b. So what will this be? What will this be? Okay, it will again be 2. Okay, I'll write it over here. Therefore, 2 plus 2 is what? It is basically 4, correct? No, it will basically become 4. Now, what will this entire line become? What will this entire line become? This entire line will become something like this. Return, okay, classy. Return classy. Okay, can you tell me what will become? 2 comma 4, yes or no? It becomes 2 comma 4. Agree, disagree? Yes or no? Agree, disagree? It becomes classy 2 comma 4. Agreed? Yeah? Yes or no? Right? So when I say return classy 2 comma 4, now what am I trying to do this by this line? What will happen in this line? Tell me. What will happen by saying classy 2 comma 4? Guys, tell me, put that in the chat box. What will happen if I say classy 2 comma 4? Guys, anyone, if you don't know something, you put something. I want to know what is that, or else I'll be waiting for you. What is happening when I say classy 2 comma 4? Don't tell returns, just answer what is happening here. That's all. Don't tell me return and all those. What is happening in this line? Okay. Constructor get calls and an object is getting created. Yes or no? A third object is getting created. Agreed or not? Don't you think a new object is getting created over here? Class is here. This is the first object. This is the second object. This is the third object. Yes or no, everyone? A third object gets created and that object is returned which would be taken in COBJ3. Yes or no? Yes, no? Guys, you're understanding or not? This will create a new object constructed after adding these two values. Okay, now I get the third object, which I will be storing, whose reference I'll be storing it into COBJ3. Yes, no, guys? Yes, no, everyone, put that quickly. Okay, so now, then what will I do? I just want to see what is there in COBJ3. When I say print COBJ3, which function will get called, guys? When I say COBJ3, which function will get called? Tell me. Okay, underscore str, not str, underscore str function will get called, correct? No, so this line will become what? COBJ3 dot, okay, underscore str will get called, correct? So internally what will happen? This COBJ3 will get passed as self over here. Here it will get passed as self, correct? No, and then here what will it return now? Because print, I'm printing this object will call this str function and it will return, what is that? A is equal to, now self dot underscore a is what? COBJ3 self is what? I mean, A is what? Underscore A. It is 2. I've created a new object 2 plus B is equal to, okay, str self dot underscore B. What is it? It is now 4, correct? No, so it will in string, this will become a string now, correct? No, so str function will convert that into a string, okay, and then this will be A is equal to 2 and B is equal to 4. Agree, guys? Yes, no? Yes or no, guys? Yeah. Okay. You ask me doubts if you have any before proceeding further. You want me to explain once again? I can explain once again. You want me to explain once again? I can explain once again. I can go through these steps once again. Yeah. So don't, I want you to understand this. Okay. Now listen, I will erase off completely all the things. Okay. Okay, just keep answering my question now before proceeding further. Okay, yeah, tell me, what do you mean by operator overloading? Put that in the chat box so that we can go ahead. What do you mean by operator overloading? Make an operator work on user defined objects, used to work on fundamental. Hey, who is that? Hey, Pawan, what are you trying to tell, man? Okay, when we make operators work on user defined objects, correct? Kirtana is right and Bhavana is right. Pawan, what are you saying? Used to work on fundamental data types. Hey, Pawan.
Sir, you said overloading, sir.
Huh?
First you have said overloading, sir.
What first you have told overloading?
For overloading, you have said that one. Basic definition, I think. So.
I told you overloading basic definition. What did I tell you? Did I tell you that, man? I didn't tell you that. I didn't tell you that is, I told what is operator overloading, that's all.
Okay.
I never told overloading definition. There is no definition for overloading and all that. Okay. So what do you mean? What do you mean by operator overloading? Operator overloading means making an operator work on user defined objects. That's all. That is called as operator overloading. You getting it?
Okay.
Yeah. So am I making an operator work on user defined objects over here? Pawan, yes or no? Pawan?
Yes, sir.
Am I making an operator work on user defined object?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that is basically called as operator overloading. I'm overloading plus operator here.
Yes, sir.
I'm overloading plus operator. Okay, what is happening in the first line?
First line, it is creating class.
Wait 1 second, wait. One second, hold on. Yeah, okay, tell me. Pawan, you are there?
Yes, sir.
Who is there next to you? Someone is talking to you?
No, sir.
No?
No.
I can hear someone talking to you. Anyways, okay, yeah, tell me. What happens in the first line?
First line, we are creating class called class C.
We are creating classy A.
Yes,
We
sir.
are actually creating an object of the type classy.
Oh, I thought first line you are going.
Here. So we are here, this line, okay? Are we creating object 1?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we are creating object 1, correct? No, I'll call it as O1 or yeah, one object, correct? So when I'm creating, so what is the parameters of this one? So this is having A is equal to 1 and B is equal to 2, correct? No, next I'm creating one more object. What is that? I'll call it as 2 now, okay? So even that is having A is equal to 1 and B is equal to 2, correct? No?
Yes, sir.
Till you're okay with everyone? Till you're okay with everyone, guys? Tell me. Yes, no? Okay. Now, Yeah. Now what will happen in this third line? Okay. Tell me, Pawan, what is happening in the third line?
We are trying to add
What we are trying to add?
C
Two
OBJ.
objects. You are
Yes.
supposed to say we are trying to add two objects, correct? No.
Yes.
So can we add normally two objects?
Uh,
No. Plus cannot add two objects, man. Yes or no?
okay. Yes. Sir.
Plus can only add normal numbers like 6 and 7 and all that. Normal fundamental data types. That's all. It cannot add all these user-defined objects, correct?
Oh yes. Sir.
But we are trying to make plus work on user defined objects. Though plus will not operate on user defined objects, it will work on only on normal data types. We are trying to make this operator, we are forcing this plus operator to work on user defined objects. Yes or no?
Yes. Sir.
Okay, so if we want to make this plus work on user defined objects, what is that we have to do? Put that in the chat box, everyone. What is that we have to do? If suppose we want to overload plus operator, overload plus operator means what? What do you mean by overloading plus operator? Making operator work on user defined objects. So I am trying to overload plus operator. If I want to overload plus operator, what is it I have to do? Guys, tell me. Exactly. I have to define a method called as underscore underscore add underscore underscore. If I do not write this method and then try to do COBJ1 plus COBJ2, you will have trouble. You will have problem. Is that okay?
Yes. Sir.
Yeah, very good. Now, because I have defined this underscore underscore add over here, the moment I say COBJ1 plus COBJ2, what does this call become? What will this line become? Tell me, put that in the chat box. Okay, so explain what will happen. This line will be, yeah, this will become COBJ1, sorry, COBJ3, correct? COBJ3 is equal to, tell me, Pawan, what will happen?
COBJ1
COBJ1
dot
underscore underscore
add
add
underscore
then
COBJ2.
yeah, COBJ2 will be passed as the parameter, correct?
Yes.
It will become like this. But you know that whenever you call a method with respect to an object, what will happen? That object with which you are calling a method will be passed as the parameter
Reference.
internally as a reference. Yes or no? Therefore, this line will become underscore underscore add underscore underscore in the bracket. It would be COBJ1 comma COBJ2. Correct? No?
Yes. Sir.
Yes or no? Right? It will be two. It will be passing a reference like this. Correct? No? So this OBJ1 will come and sit in self. This COBJ2 will come and sit in OBJ. Correct? No?
Yes. Sir.
Pawan, doubt?
Yes. Yes, sir.
You understood? Everybody understood this? Everyone put that in the chat box. Everybody understood this? Yes or no? Yeah. Now I'm coming inside. Okay, I've come into the method now because I'm overloading now. So I am in this method. Okay. So when I'm in this method, what will happen now? Okay. I'm again creating an object. This entire line is basically creating an object. Okay. So I have two parameters. What are they over here? See here, this one, comma, this one. Okay, like how I have two parameters over this one, comma, this one, like that I have two parameters, this one, comma, this one. What is that I'm doing over here internally? Tell me. What is self underscore underscore a means what? Whose a is this?
COBJ1.
COBJ1. What is COBJ1's a?
1.
It is 1. Okay, plus. Okay, then what is OBJ over here?
COBJ2.
COBJ2. So what is COBJ2's a? What is it?
1.
It is 1. See here we passed 1, no? Right, it is 1 here. Okay, comma. What is this now? Self dot underscore underscore b.
COBJ1 B.
What is that b? It is
2.
here. It is 2, correct? So it will be 2 plus OBJ2. COBJ2's b. What is it? Underscore underscore b. It would be 2. Therefore, this will become what? Okay, this will become 2 comma 4, correct?
4.
So therefore, this line becomes like this. Okay, return class E. Okay, 2 comma 4, correct? No?
Yes.
So what does it now? I have created a new object. Okay, I've created a new object with value as what? A is equal to 2, B is equal to 4. Because when I'm creating this, I'll call this constructor once again. So 2 will go and sit here and 4 will go and sit here. Correct? No? So I have 2 and 4. But have I given a name now here? Have I given a name to this?
Yes, sir.
No, I have not given yet. After returning only, see here I have not given any name. Here object only is created that object, I will store it into this reference now. I'm returning now, no? When I'm
Yes, sir.
returning, what happens? This will return and sit in obj3. obj3. After calling this, it will return and this will sit in obj3. Now there is a name given to it as obj3. Yes or no? So after
Yes.
adding 1 plus 2, we get a new object called as 3, which whose value is a is equal to 2 and b is equal to 4. Correct? No?
Yes, sir.
Guys, you understand this? Everyone, put that in the chat box. You understand this, guys? Okay. Now, now I want to see whether really it is 2 and 4. Have I got 2 and 4? So what is that I'll do? I'll say print cobj3. Okay, but if you want, if I don't give this, what will happen? The Python will actually give some random output with some number and all that, with ID and all that. So I don't want. I want to write my own. When I print cobj3, I want to get a nice diagnostic output saying a is equal to 2 and b is equal to 4. Therefore, I will use underscore str function. Okay, so when I say print cobj3, this will get converted to what? Tell me, this will become what? cobj3 dot underscore str will get called, correct? No? And this will get passed within str, which will be collected in self, and then this entire string will be made out of this entire string. So what is the string now? A is equal to, okay, see here, A is equal to, okay, now self dot underscore A is basically an integer. I want to convert that into a string format so that I can print it over here and concatenate with this. So what will I do? str self dot underscore A, which is nothing but 2 will get converted to a string, okay, plus b is equal to str self dot b, which is nothing but 4, gets converted, and therefore it will become a is equal to 2 and b is equal to 4 in the string format. I will print it. Is that okay? Guys, is that okay? Everyone okay with that? Do you want to take a picture of this, guys? Take a picture of this.
Sir,
Yeah, Pavan.
after returning only the object will be creating, sir.
No, here, we're here.
Yes, sir.
No, object is already created, but after creating an object on the heap, it will have reference, no? That reference is
sir.
being assigned to this obj3.
Okay.
You want to refer to this object, right? Currently, it is a
Yes, sir.
nameless object. The object doesn't have any name. Okay, so by returning, we are actually what we are associating this name to that object. Object is already created, but it does
Yes,
not have a
sir.
name. It is a nameless object. We are actually giving a name cobj3. Only that will happen only after returning.
Okay.
Okay, got it?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Guys, is that okay, guys? Everyone? Guys, everyone okay? Yeah, we will run that code. We'll run that code. Okay. Is this the one? Is this the one? Yes, no? So here there is a small mistake. So let me make it as obj.b. A is equal to 2, B is equal to 4. Is that okay, guys? Guys, is that okay? Yeah, okay. We'll now see what if I don't give that add function. Okay. We'll see what will happen if I comment out this line. Is that okay, guys? Yeah. What does it say? Unsupported operand types. Did you see what I did now? Guys, did you see what I did? I commented out that add function. Okay. So what does it say? Unsupported operand types for plus classy and classy. This line. Guys, did you see the output? Type no, yes, no. Did you see that output? Yeah. Is that okay? Right? Now tell me, instead of this line, okay, can I write something like this? Okay, print I love India. Can I do this? Is it possible to do? Possible, not possible? Is it possible, not possible? Kirtana, can you unmute yourself and talk to me, please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Kirtana. So why can't I do? You're saying you cannot do. Why you cannot do?
I thought it will be expecting an object to be returned.
Who is expecting an object to be returned? Okay.
No, sir. Actually, it is possible.
Only if
The
suppose.
COBJ3.
Okay. Tell me.
No, but COBJ3 needs something to be returned, right?
Assume if I'm not
Only
returning
the-
anything. Say I will say print I love India. Okay, and I'll say something. One second, there is a problem here. One second, Kirtana.
Yes.
And I will return, say, something like that. Say, I'll return none, something like this.
Yeah, this will work.
This will work?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so what happened? Some indentation problem.
Indentation.
Where indentation, which indentation? Here now I'll have to go and see. Oh, I've used space everywhere. Okay, did you see that? It worked.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, guys, others, did you understand? So it means I can do anything within this add function, not necessarily I have to add only. But it is, it is not sense writing print I love India where I want to add two objects. That is not the way you have to do. Though it is possible, it is not. That is not the reason why it was intended for. That underscore add function was not intended for writing I love India. Okay, guys, did you understand this? Did you understand this, everyone? Though it is possible, you're not supposed to do such kind of things. Is that okay? Yeah. Shall we move to the next program? Shall we move to the next program? Just say next if you're okay. We will move to the next program. Okay. Yeah. Now you tell me what will happen in this 19.py. Guys, tell me what will happen. You need any explanation in this project? I mean, in this particular code, do you need any explanation? Okay. You are creating two objects, class C1 and 2. Or the same example. Only difference that I'm having is I'm using a minus sign. Isn't it? Everything remains the same. I want you to just observe the code now and tell me. I mean, you can unmute yourself and tell me so that I can explain to you. Is that okay? It's the same thing. I replaced it with minus. That's all. I'm overloading minus operator. I'm overloading binary minus. That's all. Guys, okay? Not okay?
Okay.
What happened? Who is this? Kirtana, you have some doubt?
No, so that wasn't me.
That wasn't you? Okay. Okay. Shall we proceed further? Yeah? I think it's the same thing. Only thing is I overloaded the minus operator over here. That's all. Guys, until you say I'll not be able to proceed further. Can you go to the next one? Yeah? Okay, cool. Did you understand? See, you must know how the conversion happens. Most of our textbooks won't tell you that conversion and you'll get confused. That is the reason. Okay. So I think you understood did you understand the conversion, how it gets converted? Yeah. So if you know that, then you can work on other operators. Tell me, you want any explanation for this? It is just the multiplication symbol changed. You want any idea on this? We can discuss. So, okay. So what I want you to observe is here, you have to see that method name is underscore sub underscore. Did you see this? In the previous case, what was it? It was underscore add underscore for addition. Okay. And for sub, and because the operator that you were trying to overload was plus. Okay. But whereas in this case, 19.py, okay, the operator that you're trying to overload is minus, and the equivalent method for that minus is underscore sub. That's the only difference, guys. Is that okay? Just say okay if you're okay with that. I wanted to notice the difference. Yep. Okay. Next, we have 20.py. So here you can see that method name is underscore mul. Okay. Here star, that is multiplication operator is overloaded. Very good, Lakshmi. Correct. Is that okay? Guys, remaining is same, exactly the same. Is that okay, guys? Shall we go to the next one? Just say next if I can go to the next one. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. So what is happening over here? What is happening over here, guys? There is only one object. There is only one object. Okay. That is negation object. Therefore, what happens over here is this gets converted to COBJ1 dot underscore negate. That's all. No other object is getting passed. Only one object will get passed. Okay. So it's like this. Let me open this code. Okay, here. So how does this get converted to? This gets converted to COBJ2 is equal to, okay, COBJ1 dot underscore underscore negate underscore underscore, that's all. Okay, therefore this line becomes this line becomes COBJ2 is equal to underscore underscore negate underscore underscore COBJ1, like this, which would be collected as self. And then when you're negating on the object COBJ1. So COBJ1 becomes minus A and this becomes minus B, and that gets stored into COBJ2, which is getting printed over here. Guys, you want my explanation? You can put that. I can give you one more explanation for this negation. You want it? Don't hesitate. Let me know. I can navigate through the code. Do you want me to explain it? Yes, guys. Yes, no. You want my explanation, or shall we move to the next one quickly? I'm waiting for your next. Everyone okay? You understand this? Okay. So Kirtana, can you just unmute and explain this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
One second. So we start from object creation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are creating an object COBJ1 of type class C with parameters 1 and 2.
Okay.
When this object is created, the constructor gets called,
Okay.
and A and B values, which are 1 and 2, will get assigned to COBJ1.A and COBJ1.B.
Okay, so this is an object 1, C1. So it will have underscore underscore A is equal to 1, underscore underscore B
1
is equal to 2. Okay.
is equal to 2.
Hmm.
And then we
So
are
this line is
calling,
we are
and
overloading the,
COBJ2 is negation operator,
yeah, so we are overloading what? Unary minus.
unary minus.
Yeah, it's a negation operator. Then what happens?
Internally, this becomes like COBJ1 is passed as a parameter to the underscore neg function method.
Okay. So this self is containing what now?
COBJ1's reference.
Oh, COBJ1's reference. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
And minus of self dot underscore A will have negated version of the A of COBJ1, which is -1.
-1. Okay, comma.
And that will have -2.
-2. Okay, so this line will become what? What will this line become? Return.
This will be written an object.
This becomes classy of
-1, comma
-2, which where you are creating a new object. Okay, so a new object gets created, that is underscore underscore A is equal to -1, underscore underscore B is equal to -2. Okay, but there is no name. Object is created, but there is no name. So what will happen? So its reference is returned, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so its reference is returned, and it will return and go and sit where? In COBJ2, correct? In COBJ2, right? So now this has a name called as COBJ2. Okay, and then what happens? I'm trying to print COBJ2. When I print COBJ2, what will happen? This will call COBJ2
dot underscore
str, correct? And then this gets passed as the reference, and then you do this concatenation operation, and then print the value as A is equal to -1 and B is equal to -2. Correct? No? Yeah. So what will happen? What will happen? A question to you: what will happen if I don't write this, and instead of this I say COBJ1? This is not there. Okay, and I just do minus COBJ1 and then say COBJ1. This is an interview question.
A is equal to 1 and B is equal to 2 will get printed?
It won't get negated?
No.
Why?
I mean, okay. So, but we are negating COBJ1 and that becomes a different object altogether. But
Exactly.
COBJ1 still has that 1 and 2 only.
Exactly, right. So what happens is, when though we are applying minus COBJ1, Okay, it is negating, and if its original value has to be changed, right, then you have to say COBJ1 is equal to minus COBJ1, correct? No, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? So until it is been storing into some other object, its value will not change. Yes, guys, did you understand what I'm asking you? Guys, did you understand what I'm asking you, guys? Yeah, everyone. Supreet. Okay, shall we proceed to the next one? Thanks, Kirtana. We'll go to the next one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. -1 and b is equal to -2. Okay. Okay, so can you tell me what is happening over here? Kirtana, once again, can you unmute yourself? Talk to me, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I think this is quite
We
simple. Huh?
have,
Yeah, tell me.
I believe, there is a class C.
Huh,
Within
okay.
that, we have a constructor.
Okay, you forget that. Come to the object creation.
Okay. We're creating an object COBJ1 with
Okay.
parameter 1.
Okay, so you have a
So
constructor.
the constructor gets called, and COBJ1 dot underscore A will have 1.
Okay, cool. Then, so we have one object now with an instance variable A with a value 1, correct?
1. Yeah.
Yeah, next one.
And we are creating one more object COBJ2 with parameter 2. Constructor gets called, and COBJ2's reference gets passed, and it sits in self.
Okay.
So COBJ2 dot, the instance variable of COBJ2 gets the value 2.
Okay, so currently we have two objects. The first one has an instance variable with a value 1, and the second one has an instance variable A with a value 2. Correct, no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, next one. Then what happens?
We are overloading less than operator.
Yeah. So for
Like
that we
we're
have
trying to, yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah, we're trying to operate the less than operator on two use the different objects.
Exactly.
So that will get overloaded.
So it means we are trying to overload the less than operator, correct? So if it has to be overloaded, then what is that we have to have? We must have an equivalent method, correct? No?
LT method.
Yeah, so that is called as less than. Okay, so this is called as less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, greater than, not equal to, and equal to. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Fine. I think no explanation needed for this. Is that okay? Not equal to, and this one is given. Is that okay, guys? Everyone? Kirtana, you're okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, guys, are you all okay with this? Quickly, thanks, Kirtana. Is that okay? Fine. Everyone. I want everyone to put that in the chat box here. Please, here, I'm requesting you. Please put something in the chat box so that I can know. Okay, shall we go to the next one? This is quite simple. I've explained you. Shall we go to the next one? Say next, if we can actually proceed to the next one. Say next. Okay, I'm waiting for anyone. You want to have some doubts, you can ask me. I'm waiting for you. Shall we proceed to the next one? Just say no doubts if you have no doubts. Proceeding further. Okay. Yeah, cool. Okay. Oh, 1 second. Okay, so I think now we have got into, okay, before explaining, I'll ask you one more question. Okay. Kirtana, can you just unmute yourself?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Kirtana. So, Kirtana, tell me some inheritance for the hierarchy for vehicle class, no? So, let us have vehicle class here. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, we have vehicle. Okay. Vehicle. Okay. Now, let me, instead of vehicle, we have learned C teacher and CPP teacher, no?
Yes, sir.
Wait, give me a moment. Let me think of some analogy. Okay, we'll make it vehicle only. Okay, we have a vehicle class, correct? Okay, so now can you tell me some other who can inherit from vehicle?
A car.
Okay, so or shall we make it as like this? Okay, two-wheeler,
Yeah.
two-wheeler, okay, four-wheeler, okay, and three-wheeler, correct?
Yes, sir.
We can also have a three. Which is three-wheeler, Kirtana?
Auto rickshaw.
Yeah. It's not auto rickshaw. It is auto rickshaw. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
You're from which place? You're from India only, or from America, or some other
No,
place?
I was telling in a doubt. I mean,
No, is it? I heard it as if an American is speaking to me. Auto rickshaw kind of, right? It is auto rickshaw,
yes, sir.
right? Yeah. Okay, fine. Tell me.
Yes, sir.
So now three-wheeler. Now what will happen? Give me an example now for two-wheeler. Two-wheeler can be inherited from whom?
Bike.
Okay. So bike. It's only a bike only, no? Two-wheeler is just a bike. So we can bike. We make it as
Bicycle. We
bike.
can.
So okay, so what we can do, or else we'll directly give this, no? So Royal Enfield, okay, Royal Enfield, or we'll call it as Bullet. Okay, no. So you drive a Bullet, Kirtana?
No, sir.
Activa?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. When nobody is there on the road, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Bullet. Okay. Bullet is a two-wheeler. Then Bullet is a two-wheeler. Then Activa is a two-wheeler. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Okay. Now coming to four-wheeler. Tell me a four-wheeler.
Bus.
Bus. Hey, bus is four-wheeler. What kind of girl you're
No,
here?
sir.
In your which you're from which place? You're from India only or from some other place? In India, bus will have a lot of wheels. Okay, so we will make I-20. I-20 four-wheeler. Then any other four-wheeler you have? I-20.
Swift.
We'll also have a Swifter. Okay, we'll have Swift. Okay, as a four-wheeler. Okay, three-wheeler. Auto, what was that you told? Auto rickshaw.
Auto.
Something like that. Okay, auto rickshaw, right? So assume like this, right? Now my question to you is that, okay, now can we create, what is an object, Kirtana? Can you tell me what is an object? The question is also for others, okay? Yeah, tell me, what do you mean by, what do you mean by an object? Can you define object, which we discussed on the first day of the class?
For which we can get a perfect picture.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So no. Okay. So define an object. Define an object. That was mine. Yeah. Divya Manjunath is telling. That was my definition. That is why that is how I used to explain it to you. But what is an object? Give me the definition of an object.
An entity which has which
A
occupies
real-time entity,
space.
not entity. A real-time entity.
Yeah.
It's a
Which
real-time entity.
occupies.
Huh.
Yeah, which occupies space and it has state and behavior.
Correct. No. Right. So let us club that with your original definition that it must have a definite picture. Correct.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, when I say, V is equal to vehicle, V is equal to vehicle. Okay. So what is V here?
It is an object.
It is an object, correct? But when we create object of what type?
Vehicle class.
It is of vehicle type, correct? No. Of type, of class vehicle, correct? No. Guys, are you all okay with this?
Yes,
Are you with me in the conversation with Kirtana? Right. So what am I trying to ask? I'm asking her, what is V? So Kirtana said V is basically an object of type vehicle, correct? Okay. So Kirtana, as per your previous definition, can you get a definite picture of this V, Kirtana?
No, sir.
Can you get a picture of this vehicle? Can you?
Not
You cannot.
specifically.
Not specifically, you don't get it. So it means when you cannot get a definite picture, can you make an object of this vehicle class, Kirtana?
No.
No, isn't it?
Yes.
Theoretically, yes, you can actually write and you can do, nobody is stopping you. But when you come to the real design, practicality, when you come to the practical design, can you create an object of vehicle type? Will you create?
No.
No. Why? Because vehicle don't have any such behavior. Correct. No. But can I make it like this? Bullet is equal to bullet. Can I do that? Yes or no? Can I do that?
Yes, sir.
Kirtana Ganapati,
Bees again, we don't have a picture for bee.
why? We have bullet, no? Bullet, we have a picture, no? You
Okay.
get Royal Enfield.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
You are getting a picture of a bullet. B is now bullet. B is representing vehicle, but vehicle does not have a proper picture, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, okay, I'll give you one more example. Shall I give you one more example, guys? Just say one more example. I'll give you one more analogy. Okay, one more I'll give you. I'm removing this from the screen. Okay. Now, okay. Shape. We'll have a class called as shape. Okay. Kirtana, you're there with me, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So can you, okay. So can I inherit rectangle from shape?
Yes.
Can I have, okay, let me write it with a box so that you'll understand. Okay, so basically what I'll do, assume this is shape class. This is a shape class, okay, and it may have some method, right? So can you tell me some method? Draw. Can I write a method draw?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll have a method draw. Guys, I'm just speaking to Kirtana. She's representing you all, okay? Yeah, so I can inherit one class called as, rectangle. Kirtana, you're supposed to be very quick in answering my question. Don't speak in, American accent, right? Rectangle, shape and all you don't say. Normally you say, okay? No. So rectangle is inheriting from shape, correct? Then we have one more. What is that? Can I inherit square from this?
Square.
I
Yes,
can
sir.
inherit square from this, correct? No?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now from this, can I have one more? Tell me one more.
Triangle.
Triangle. Triangle, very good. Triangle. Okay, right. Now when I inherit like this, right? Now tell me okay. Okay, this is the thing. Okay, now can I have something called as S is equal to shape? Can I have?
No,
Can I have? I cannot have.
we can't have.
We can't have. Why we can't have?
Because shape doesn't have those behaviors of an object.
No. Shape not it doesn't have any behavior of an object. It is basically you don't get any particular shape in mind, correct?
Yeah.
When you just say shape, what shape comes to your mind?
Nothing
No,
comes.
nothing comes. You will get some amoeba picture like this, yes or no? I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
that is what I will get. I don't know what you will get. I'll get some amoeba picture, a shapeless amoeba, correct? No. So basically, when you say shape, what shape comes to your mind? There is no definite picture. So when there is no definite picture, there is no meaning in creating an object of such kind of class. Correct? No, guys? Yes or no?
Yes,
You're
sir.
understanding what I'm saying? Is it making sense? I'm talking, design. I'm talking design. I'm not talking the code. Talking that code. You can code. You cannot code. I'm not saying like that. You can code like this. Nobody is stopping you from coding. But in reality, you must not code like this because you cannot. When you cannot imagine a shape class, how can you create an object out of it? That is pure nonsense. Kirtana, you're getting what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Now, if suppose I say, okay, SQ is equal to square. Is this okay? Can I do that?
Yes.
Yes,
we
because I
can.
know how a square looks like. Yes or no? Only thing is,
Yes.
give the square, that, how do you calculate square, guys? How do you calculate square?
Just calculate area of square.
Sorry, area of a square.
Side into side.
Side into side, are you,
I
okay.
mean, square of the side. Square
Okay.
of one side.
Okay, so if you L into B, it seems rectangle, that is for
It is rectangle.
rectangle, no, Lakshmi. Anyways, okay, now guys, listen, guys, listen. Okay, so we have, okay, what I'm trying to tell you is we have nothing to give as input for shape. Yes, no, you're getting what I'm saying? I have
Yes,
nothing to give as an input, or I have nothing to tell shape how you must look like. But whereas for a rectangle or for a square or for a, if rectangle or for a triangle, I know I can give input so that I can find the, square of that particular thing, isn't it? Of that particular shape. It means that this has
Yes, sir.
shape, this has behavior, correct? No?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so why am I discussing all this? I'm discussing all this is because, okay, one thing is I must not be, so if suppose say, if suppose some fresher has joined the team, okay, and he has been given this kind of code, and what if he actually creates such kind of, statements? What he suppose by mistake he creates such kind of statements? That is bad, no? Okay, so in that case, though we know that we are not supposed to create a shape like this, okay, so but instead of asking someone to follow the discipline, why don't we restrict them from creating a shape like this, an object like this? Guys, are you understanding what I'm saying? Guys, you understand what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
Okay, instead of asking someone that, boss, see, shape has no object, so don't create object of that particular class, it is not good. Instead of asking them to follow the discipline, why don't we restrict and what do you call, we will try to enforce the discipline on that particular class? Yes or no? So guys, did you understand what I'm saying? Yes, no? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Everyone. I want everyone to put that in the chat box. If no, say no. I can explain once again, 101 times I can explain, but don't simply say yes. I want you to understand this design concept, very important design concept. They'll ask you in interview, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is that, okay, so when you must not, when you cannot, when there is no need to create a object of this class shape, okay, then why don't you avoid creating this shape, or I mean object of the shape, or why don't you enforce a kind of lock on this class so that nobody will be able to create an object of this class? Yes or no, guys? Can we do that? Everyone, can we do
Yes,
that?
sir.
Can we enforce, or can we put a lock so that nobody will be able to create an object of this class? Okay, so if you want to put a lock, or if you don't want people to create a class of this, I mean, if you don't want people to create an object of this particular class, make this class as an abstract class. Make this class as an abstract class. Did you understand? Okay, make this class an abstract class. I'll tell you how to make an abstract class. Don't worry. Is that okay? Make this as an abstract class. Okay, so if you make this class as an abstract class, you will not be able to create an object of this particular class. But only thing that you can do is you cannot even give definition of this class. Guys, hello, you will not even be able to give a definition of this method, but any class is there. And if there is any class, guys, listen to me carefully, little bit confusing, but it is very easy if you understand. Listen to me. If you have a class that is abstract, then the method that is there in that particular class, right, must be overridden in the derived class. Okay, yes, no, guys? The only reason why we are actually using this shape is to have a common entity from which we can actually inherit. Okay, so this will only act as a what do you call, it acts as a template, that's all, right? This is basically called as an abstract class, okay, for which you cannot create an object, but we will have to, if it has a method, okay, you cannot have even a definition for it, because shape does not have any behavior. What will it draw? It won't draw anything, right? But we can actually inherit from that, okay, and we'll have to override that particular method. I'll show you in the code in some time. Guys, is that okay with you guys? Is that okay? Guys, okay, not okay? Okay, any class that has abstract methods are called as abstract class. Is that okay? So I will inherit from that and I will override that method in our derived class. Is that okay? Shall we show the code to you? Shall I show you the code? Is that okay? Yeah, we'll go to the code now. Now listen to me carefully. Where is that code? Here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what is this called as, guys? If you want to actually have abstract methods and abstract class and all that, guys, listen to me. Listen to me carefully. Okay. So we have to import from, this is called as abstract base classes. Okay. So this is a module which will help us get this abstract method, or will prepare this class for an abstractness. Okay. So if you want to make any classes, abstract class and all that, you have to inherit, okay, the class that you are trying to make as abstract, okay, from a class called as ABC, which is available in the module ABC. Is that okay? And this is capital ABC only. Okay, else you will not be able to do that, because this class has all the necessary details, operations and all that, which can actually help the Python interpreter know that you are trying to make a particular class an abstract base class. Okay, so now this is called as an abstract method. Okay, a method which does not have a definition and that is marked as with a decorator at abstract method becomes an abstract method, which is mandatory for that to be implemented or overridden in the child class of this particular class. You can see that C teacher is a class which is inheriting from an abstract class teacher. Okay, and because this teach method has been marked abstract, then it says that it is mandatory that all the abstract methods has to be overridden or implemented in the child class, and that is the reason I have implemented in the child class. One of the reasons that I am making it as abstract method is that because I know that I cannot give any definite behavior in this particular teacher class. What will teacher teach? If I say C teacher, yes, he will teach C. If I say CPP teacher, yes, he will teach C++ or Python or whatever it is. But when I say teacher, what is that he will teach? Similarly, if I come to this particular example that I showed you now, okay, when I say draw here, I know he will draw a rectangle. When I say draw here, I know he will draw a square. When I say draw, it means this class is drawing a triangle. But when I say draw over here, tell me what will I draw? What is the logic? What is the definition that I have to give for this method to draw that particular shape? There is no such definitions, or there is no such logic for a draw method, and we are not supposed to give a chance for anyone else to call the draw method on the shape class. And that is the reason I will make this method as abstract. Okay, when you call this method abstract, when you make this method abstract, it means that this method has nothing to do, or this method has no definition. Guys, did you understand this? Do you understand the logic? Okay, no. So in the base class, when I make any class as, any method as abstract, it means that I have nothing to do with my behavior. I don't have a behavior at all. Okay, I am using it only because my child class can inherit from me and provide their own implementation. Is that okay? To have this inheritance structure, I'm having it, okay, as a placeholder, so that if any of my child is inheriting, they can inherit it and they can give their own behavior. Therefore, rectangle can give a logic to draw rectangle, square can give a logic to give, draw a square, and triangle can have a draw to actually give a draw. You meant to do a draw over here. Guys, did you understand what I'm trying to tell you? Yes, no? Guys, everyone, did you understand what I'm trying to tell you? Okay, so any method that does not have any particular behavior to do, make it as an abstract method. And any class that contains an abstract class, abstract methods are basically called as what? Any class that has an abstract method becomes an abstract class for which objects cannot be created. Is that okay? Is that okay? Is that okay, guys? Yeah, okay. So now listen to me. Okay, I want to tell you one more thing. So any method that till we have written all these days, we have written many methods, which has a definition. So don't get confused. Such methods are called as concrete methods. They're called as concrete methods. Okay, so a method with a definition is called concrete methods. A method that does not have a definition is called as an abstract method. Is that okay? Is that okay? Okay, can you write down somewhere concrete methods? Concrete methods. Concrete method which has a definition. Okay, now Kirtana Ganapati, can you just unmute yourself and talk to me? Oh, I have already given the output.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you please explain me what will be the output over here? First of all, tell me how many classes are there?
The program starts from here only?
No, from here, sorry.
We are importing all the methods from the module ABC.
Okay, so
Which
how
is
many
abstract-based
classes are there?
class.
Keep answering my question. How many classes are there? Two.
Oh, I see only two.
Now?
Three.
You can see three? Three classes are there.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So how many abstract methods are there?
One abstract method.
Is it implemented in both the classes? That okay, so who is inheriting from whom?
C teacher is inheriting from teacher.
Okay.
Python teacher is also inheriting from teacher.
Okay, so is there any overriding method? Are there any overriding methods?
Yes.
Which is that method?
Teachers overridden in both the class, both the
yes
child
or no?
classes.
Okay, so now what will happen when I say C teacher? Whose object am I creating here?
The child class object.
Okay, then I call T dot school name. So what gets called?
School name is in the parent class.
Yeah, so this gets called, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I've given here. I teach at Subhash programming class. Then what happens?
T dot teach. This calls the teach method from C teacher. I mean of C teacher class.
Of C teacher class, because it is overridden, correct?
Yes.
The behavior has been overridden. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Then here what happens?
We are creating an object out of Python teacher class.
Okay.
T dot school name again calls the school name method from the parent class.
Okay.
This T dot teach calls the teach method, which is overridden in the Python teacher class.
Okay, cool. Guys, did you understand this? Guys, everyone understand? Kirtana, don't run away 1 second.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Did everyone understand that, guys? Everyone? Yeah, okay. So Kirtana, shall we go to the next one and see what is happening?
Yes, sir.
Is it the same?
We have three.
Is that the same?
So far, it is same.
No. Yeah, tell me.
Okay,
yeah, tell me.
We have three classes. The base is teacher and the child class
shall I open it in the
and Python teacher.
Shall I open it in the this thing terminal?
Yes, sir.
What is the number?
24, I think.
Yeah, okay.
24.
Tell me.
We have a parent class teacher, and from that C teacher and Python teacher is inherited.
Okay.
And class teacher is an abstract method, so that is an abstract class here.
Okay.
We are trying to create an object T out of the parent class teacher, which is
Okay.
not allowed here.
Okay. We'll run the code.
This should give an error.
No, 1 second. What does it say?
Can't instantiate abstract class teacher with
Abstract methods teach. Correct. No. So it has become now an abstract class. Guys, is that okay?
Yes, sir.
It has become an abstract class. So it makes sense that, you know, there cannot be an object of a teacher class. Teacher means which teacher? Which teacher, right? So if you don't want to, if you want to enforce a lock, okay, that no one should be able to instantiate an object of this particular class, then make it as an abstract class. And it makes sense also. Don't you think so? Kirtan, what do you think?
Yes, sir. It makes sense.
It makes sense, right? You understand, right? Yeah, this is how it is. This is an design principle, object-oriented design principle. Okay? Is that okay? So they'll ask you in an interview question, why should we make it as an abstract? Okay, so normally people will ask if students say is that, you know, any class that has abstract method becomes abstract class and all that, but they don't know it is why. Okay, so you must be able to say why. Why? Because you cannot have an object. So you don't have a real-time picture of a teacher. You don't have a real-time picture of a shape. Okay, so it doesn't make sense having an object of that particular class. Okay, so that is the reason we make it as an abstract class and will not allow it to have an object of its own. Object means it should be a real-time entity which should have its own space, or it should have its own behavior. Okay, but when we add a behavior to the shape, what behavior will it do? What shape? What kind of shape will it actually draw? It has no particular behavior. So make it as an abstract method and make the class abstract class, and don't allow anyone to create an object of such kind of class. That is called as abstract class. Is that okay? Making sense, everyone? Yeah. Right. Okay, cool. Having said that, Kirtana, shall we go to the next one? Oh, next is command line arguments. Okay, I think we can complete this too. Command. Guys, are you all ready? Shall we go to the next concept, command line arguments? Yeah. Yes, no. Kirtana, you're there. Where is Kirtana? She absconding. Kirtana, you're there, you're not there. Okay. I don't know what happened to Kirtana. Anyways, so let me call anyone else who can help me out with this. Lakshmi, can you just ask what happened to Kirtana? She's there?
Yes, sir. I'm back.
You're
It
back.
got
Where were you?
disconnected. Yeah.
Now you're okay?
I don't know, some network issue I faced.
Okay, right. Now you're okay, right? We'll continue.
Yes.
So this is
yes,
the
sir.
last concept for this session. A very simple topic. Okay, so we can go through this quickly. Okay, so this is called as command line arguments. Guys, listen to me. Please ask me if you did not understand. Okay, don't hesitate. Please do ask me. Okay, so what is the concept called as? Tell me. Put that in the chat box. What is the concept called as?
Command line arguments.
Everyone, put that in the chat box. What is it called as? Command. Everyone, I want everyone to put that in the chat box, not one or two. Everyone. That is called as command line arguments. Is that okay? Command line arguments. So what do you mean by command line? Anyone? Kirtana, do you know what do you mean by command line? Kirtana, you're there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what do you mean by command line, Kirtana?
Uh,
You know, you don't know?
I have no idea, sir.
You have no idea? This is command line. This I'm giving here commands, no? I'm giving commands, yes, no, ls minus l and all that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is command line.
Okay.
This is command line. Okay. So I'm giving command copy from 1.py to 2.py like this. I'm giving commands, right? This is basically called as command line. Is that okay?
Yes,
Everyone, just say everyone. I want everyone to tell me whether it is okay or not okay. That is called as command line. Okay, you will have command prompt on your Windows. You'll have command prompt. Will you give actually dir command and mkdir command and all those things? That is basically called as command lines. Kirtana, did you get that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, what do you mean by command line arguments? What do you mean by command line arguments? Command line arguments means Giving arguments to your Python program via the command line is called as command line arguments. Is it okay? Normally, when you want to give parameters to your Python methods and all that, you do it via the program. You do it inside the program. You pass arguments inside the program. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
If you want to pass one parameter via a function call into your program, what do? You basically pass it via, you call a method and you call a function and you pass parameters to it, correct? Okay. What if I want to pass parameters via the command line to the program? Guys, did you understand? Did not understand? Please put that in the comment box. Whatever it is, I want to explain it to you once again. If I want to pass the parameters to the program, listen carefully. I'll explain, Reshma. Listen. If I want, normally what happens in a program, when you want to actually pass parameters, you will pass it via the function call, correct? No, that call 1, 2, what is that, message 2, 3, like that you pass parameters, right? What if now I want to pass parameters to the program from this command line, from the outside the program? I want to pass parameters from outside the program and do some operations. Is that okay? So that is called as command line arguments, giving arguments through the command line to the program from outside the program. That is when I say outside the program, it is through the command line. I am passing parameters to the program from the outside world. That is called as command line arguments. Is that okay? I'll show you the example. Don't worry, but understand what I'm saying you in English first. Okay. So passing the arguments to your Python program from the command line, that is from outside the program, is called as command line arguments. Is that okay? Is that okay? Right, I'll show you the program now. Right now, see this program now. Okay, forget about the program. Now, Kirtana, you're there?
Yes, sir.
Kirtana, normally how do I execute any program here? Tell me.
We'll write a program,
We are
store
writing the
it,
program.
and we'll execute with Python 3 command.
Yeah, so how do you execute? We use Python 3 and then say 1.py, correct?
Yeah.
Yes or no, guys? Everyone okay? Okay, normally I say Python 3 1.py and I enter the, I press an enter key. Everyone just say okay if you're okay with this. And therefore I get that output, correct? Everyone okay? Yeah, now along with this, I can pass few more parameters. And these parameters will become your command line arguments to your program. Is that okay? Is that okay? These becomes your command line arguments, okay? Right?
Okay.
No. Okay, normally I will execute as Python 3 1.py, but now I actually give it like this, extra parameters like this, and this will be collected as a strings 1, 2, 3 and all that. Is that okay? I'll show you that. So this 1, 2, 3 will become your command line arguments, including 1.py. These are your command line arguments to your program. Okay, now I'll show you how it works. See this code. See this code. Okay, this is one of the program which will receive command line arguments. If you want to receive command line arguments, you will make use of a list called as argv, which is there in the module sys. Sys is a module, and that we have basically something called as a list. Okay, we'll take that arguments. Now, did you see here how am I running this program? Can you see that? How I am running this program? Okay, it is Python 3, the name of this particular program. Okay, and then I'm also passing some parameters to this. Did you see that, guys? Everyone, put that in the chat box.
Yes, sir.
Guys, did you see that? Yes, no, did you see that? Right now, when I give this parameter, you know, where is it received? That is received in a list called as sys.argv. All these would be there. Okay, no? Okay, let me show that program to you guys. Okay, first let me explain this. Okay, so now when it is received, what does it say? The length of command line argument is equal to length of that sys.argv. What is it saying? The length of CLA is what? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and the values of CLA are, now from this list I'll take using this for loop, right? I would take one by one and I'll start printing it. First one will be cla.py, that is this one. This is the first one. Okay, this is the second one, this is the third one, and this is the fourth one. I mean, this program will just simply explain. I'll tell you why we will be using it later. Did you understand this? How it is getting? So I can pass arguments to this program via the command line, and I can make use of those arguments to do a lot of stuff over here. Guys, did you understand this program? Just how it works. Later I'll tell you why it is used and all that. Did you understand this program? Okay, so let me run that code and then I'll show it to you. Did you see this? We have to import the sys module, okay? Right? Okay, I'm running this code. Okay, so shall I pass some parameters over here now? Okay, Kirtana. Okay, so Yogesh, Danya Manjunath, like this I'll type. Okay, now see what is happening. Okay, first thing is the length of the CLA is what? Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so the length of CLA is equal to 4. That is what I've tried to see here. The length of CLA is what? All your command line arguments is collected in the argv list. Okay, how did I know that argv is basically a list? Okay, I tried to print that. Did you see that? It is printing class list. See here, I've printed it over here. Type of that. It is basically a list. Okay, and then I want to know whether all the command line arguments are collected it or not. Okay, so I will use a for loop. I'll take it one by one because it is iterable. No, it will take the first element, then the second element, then the third element, and each time when I'm taking it, I'll also print it, and that is when I get this output. Okay, that first time the values of CLA are 25.py. Okay, Kirtana, Yogesh, Danya, Manjunath. Okay, so what is this program showing? I am actually giving arguments to the program from the external world. That is nothing but command line. That is why we call these arguments as command line arguments, passing arguments to the program through the command line. Guys, is that okay? Guys, is that okay? Yes, no. Okay, now what if? Okay, now I'll tell you what is the use of this. Listen to me. Guys, listen to me. I'll tell you what is the use of this. The use of this is, what if I want to write a program to add two numbers? Okay, without directly, just I want to say 25.py space 1 comma 1 space 2. I want to add two numbers by giving these values from the external world, that is through the command line. It means I want a program which will take the values from the command line, give any values from the command line, and that will give you the addition of two numbers. Do you understand this, guys? A generic program which can take these values from the external world, that is through command line, and then give me the addition of those two values. Yes or no? Can we do that? Can we do that? Can we do that, guys? Okay, now see this. I'll give you one more real-time example. I'm doing this ls minus l. Did you see this ls minus l? This is an example of command line arguments. Ls is basically, don't get confused if it is too much technical. Okay, ls is basically a program written in C language. Ls is a command, is basically a C program which is taking a command line argument of minus l. Okay, it means this program will take the input from the outside world to the command line and will give us this output. Guys, did you get what I'm saying? Understanding what I'm saying? That is called as command line arguments. Any command that you give on the command prompt is basically a command line argument. Okay, so ls minus lh, ls minus lh, something like this. Okay, now shall we write a Python program to add two numbers taking from the external world, that is through command line? Can we write that, guys? Yes, no? Shall we go ahead and write it? Yeah. Okay, let us see what is the next program. Okay, it is 25 or 26. 26. Okay, see here, this is basically a program to add two numbers. Can you tell me what am I doing? Can you tell me what am I doing actually? Okay, so adding two numbers through CLA. Okay, so let me run this code. One second. Okay, right now I run this code. Python 3 26.py. I wanted 192. Okay guys, tell me in the chat box in this particular program, in this example, which is argv of 0, which is argv of 0. It is a list, right? So which is argv of 0? Okay, hey Bhavana, no, I told you, no, this is, it starts from 26.26.py. it starts from here. I've told you this is argv of 0. argv of 1, argv of 1 is 1, argv of 2 is 2, correct? Now in that case, if I, now how is this treated as an integer or as a string when I'm giving through command line? Is it a string or a integer? It is a string, no? It is basically, whenever you give any value through the command line, it is basically a string, right? Yes or no? Now if I want to add these two numbers, is it possible to add one directly string? Is it possible to add directly as a string, or I have to convert this using some function into an integer? I should convert this into some function, right? Using a function, I have to convert this into integer, right? Yes or no? In that case, tell me which function shall I use? Which function should I use to convert a string to an integer, guys? Can I use int? Okay, so what should I write inside the int? Tell me, what is that I have to write inside the int function? How do I convert? How do I convert? Yeah, tell me now. What will I write? What will I write? Put that in the chat box. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so we know that whatever we pass, say dollar. Okay. So I am saying Python 3. Okay. So 26.py, and I'm passing 1 and 2. Okay. So in this case, where is it received actually? How is it received? In the list? Okay, in the list it is received like this, no, 26.py. Okay, and then what is it? It is 1, and then it is 2. This is how it is received, no? So this is 0th element, this is 1th element, and this is 2th element, and the list name is what? argv, correct? No, it is argv, right? Now if suppose if this is argv. Okay, now if I want to add these two numbers, right, I want to add this one and this one, right? Correct. So how do I add it? Can I do like this? One, that is, 1 second, wait 1 second. So can I do it like this, guys? Tell me. Can I do it as argv of 1 plus argv of 2? Can I do this like this? Tell me. Will I be able to do? If I want to add these two numbers, can I do argv of 1 plus argv of 2? If I do argv of 1 plus argv of 2, what will happen? These two strings will get concatenated, and that will become 1, 2. Yes or no? This will become 1, 2, no? Yes, no, guys? Yeah. So for that, what is it I have to do now? I cannot do like this. So what is it I have to do? I have to first convert the string into an integer, no? So can I use this int function? Can I use this int function and then add these two? Are everyone okay with that? Are everyone okay with this? Yeah, exactly. So that is what we are trying to do here in this program. Okay, so I'll show you that code first, and then we'll run the code. Vi 26.py. Okay, so did you see this? I'm trying to convert the sys.argv1, sys.argv2, and then I'm trying to add these two and then only print the values. Is that okay, guys? Guys, is that okay? Is that okay? Shall we proceed further? Shall I run the code? List out of range. Oh, sorry. 1, 2. Okay, did I get this? Adding two numbers through CLA 1 and 3. That is 1 plus 2. Is that okay? So shall I 5 and 6? I'll get 11. Guys, okay? Just say okay if you're okay, so that I can proceed further. Is that okay? Everyone? Everyone, okay? Yeah, okay, cool. So we'll go to the next one. What is the number? 25.
29.
26, no, 27. 26 is it? This is done. Okay. 27.py. Okay. Okay. Guys, can we take 15 minutes extra? Are you all okay? We'll go slowly. I have 3 more programs to explain. Is that okay, guys? Shall we go slowly? 15 minutes, not in a hurry. No, if you're in a hurry, you won't understand. I want a lot of things to explain. That is the thing. Okay, 15 minutes extra. Don't mind. Shall we go ahead or not? Yeah. Okay. So we have a module called as argparse. We call that module as. Okay. It is called as what? argparse. Kirtana, you're there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. I mean, when I need it, I'll ask you. Okay. So be ready. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah. So what does it say? This is basically helping us to take command line arguments. Okay. With more diagnostic message and error messages. If you are not giving the right input as a command line argument, then this module will help us give that right message, and it will also help us, tell us what is the mistake that we are basically doing. Is that okay? Now, first is that whenever you want to create an very good professional program that accepts command line arguments, then you have to import this module called as argparse. Okay, and the first step is you have to say argparse.argumentparser. This is basically a function which will tell you which will give you an opportunity to even tell you what is the description of this particular program. It means, see here, what is this saying? This says this program will add 2 floats. Basically, you are adding integer. No, let me make it as integer here. Okay, sorry, 2 integers. I'll show you the use of this. 2 ints. Okay, now see, I'll run this code. Okay, Python 3 27.py. Okay, and I'll say, give me a moment. Okay, and I will say minus h. Okay, so what does it say? Did you see that? Minus h stands for what, guys? Minus h stands for what? Can you tell me? Minus h. Minus h stands for help. If you don't know how to operate on this particular program, right, you can just say 27 dot minus h, and this will tell you how to make use of this particular program. Did you see that? Guys, did you see that? It says usage is 27.py, and you have to give two values, num1 and num2. Guys, yes or no? Guys, are you there with me here with the class? Yes, no? Yeah. So did you see that? Okay, this cannot be done with our normal command line arguments. Okay, so we are supposed to use a separate module called as argparse. This will, by saying minus h, it will tell you how many parameters that this program can be used, how to run this program. 27.py, okay, num1, num2. And did you see this? This program will add to ints. Did you see this, guys? Okay, also see this positional arguments. Num1 means what? Enter a int type number. Num2, enter int type number. It is telling me what kind of number I have to enter here. Okay, okay, did you see that? Yes, no? So from where is this getting such kind of information? This kind of information is getting because I have coded it over here. Okay, so argparse, argument parser. So I have given the description. This program will add two ints. Okay, so therefore it will give me a parser object. It will give me a parser object. Okay, so that when to that parser object I'm adding two. Did you see that? Two arguments. The first one should be of type integer, and if suppose I'm asking for help using minus h, tell them that enter a int type number. And again, if you want one more parameter, then you again say add argument to this object and say what is the name of that argument. It means where after taking the parameter or after taking the argument from the keyboard. Okay, so after taking through the command line, where should I store it? Here, first one should be stored in num1, second one should be stored in num2, and you must say what is the type of the value that you are taking. Okay, and if suppose you didn't know how to do it, when you say minus h, this will tell you what type of number it is. So here, assume that I did not know how to work with this, so immediately I will say Python 3 27.py. okay, and I will ask minus h. When I say minus h, it will tell you. Okay, the positional arguments, num1 should be enter a int type number, num2 should be enter a int type number. So this will tell me, oh, is it? Okay, now I'll enter. So when I enter two numbers after 27.py, if I give two command line arguments, right, so that will go and sit in num1, and that will go and sit in the second one will go and sit in num2. That is the name of it. Did you get that? You get what I'm saying, guys? Okay, num1 is the variable where your first command line argument will go and sit. Num2 is a variable where your second command line argument will sit, and you have to give the type as integer only. Okay, so if you give anything apart from integer, this will result in an error. I will show you that. So then once you give the two command line arguments, okay, so what you can do is you can actually use parse.parsers as a function and parse that, which will be in args. Okay, so args.num1, okay, args.num2, you can add and you'll get the result. Okay, so let me show this code to you. Okay, I'll print the type of this also. Type. Oh, yeah, sorry. How many parameters should I pass to this now? Can you tell me how many parameters should I pass? 3, yeah. Huh, including 27 point. Okay, so let us say 3. Okay, so did I get the output as 5? Okay, so that parser is of type some class called as namespace. Okay, you'll have to little bit do the by heart. I mean, you'll have to memorize these steps. What was the number? 27. Did you get this, guys? Did you get this? You'll have to little bit do some memorizing of this method calls and all that. Add argument, parser object and all that. Okay, once you memorize, then it will be the common for all. Only thing that you need to note is here type. Now, shall I type something other than int and show you what will happen? Yes, no, guys? Shall I type something that is other than integer and show you what will happen? Okay, yeah. So let me run this. 3.4, 5.6. So what does it say? Okay, usage is num1 and num2, error, argument num1 invalid int value is 3.4. Okay, so this is invalid, which will not be possible when you are trying to do with a bare bone command line arguments that we did earlier. By using this argparse module, we can do a lot of error conditions like this. You can check for such kind of error conditions. Is that okay, guys? This is more tight. This is more coupled. Is that okay? Is that okay, guys? Everyone? Yeah. Okay. Shall we go to the next one? Next program. Yeah. What is happening over here? Can you tell me? Can you tell me what is happening over here? There. Okay. See, compare this 27.py. Here, how many lines were there? Here, how many lines were there? 2 lines for 2 arguments, correct? Yes or no? Just put that in the comment box. Yes, no? 2 lines for 2 arguments. Okay. And we had type. Did we have something called as enargs? Did we have another attribute called as enargs over here? Right? Now see this example. What do we have? Enargs. We have something called as enargs. Correct? No? So what do you mean by enargs? That this num is capable of holding 3 arguments. Okay, in the previous case we had num1. Okay, num1 was capable of holding what? Only 1 integer, correct? No, in this case it was capable of holding only one integer, correct? No, guys? Yes or no? Yes, no, guys? Okay, what if I have some 10 arguments to be passed? Then in that case what happens is that I cannot write 10 times num1, num2, num3, num4, num5, num6, num7, num8, num9, num10. Can I do that, guys? Can I do that? It will become, though I can do that, that is cumbersome. No, that is not the right way to do it, right? So what I will do is basically I will use this method. Okay, 28.py, which says, okay, num can represent any number of arguments. For now, if suppose I want 3, I'll just say enargs is equal to 3. Is that okay? Is that okay? So let me see. Okay, what is the data type of args? Print type of, okay, num. Okay, no. So then I will add num of 0 will indicate, okay, let me run this code. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, unrecognized. Oh, 3 only, no? 1, 2, 3. Okay, sorry. 3. Okay, so what does it say? Type num is not defined. It is basically a list. Okay, 1 second, let me try to, it is not able to figure it out. Okay, 1 minute. Here, args.num. Did you see that? It is basically of type list. Guys, did you see that? That nums is basically of type list. Okay, yeah, okay. Okay, so I'll remove this. So, okay, here I put. Okay, so when I say how many arguments can I take now? Tell me, how many arguments can I take in this program, through this program? How many arguments can I take through the command line? I can take 3 arguments. Number of arguments is 3. And where will it go and store? Where will it go and store? In num. What is num? What is num? Num is basically a list. Okay, so if I say if I say python 3 28.py space 1 comma 3 comma 5, then what will num of 0 contain? Num of 0 contain 1, yeah, and then it contains 2 and then 3. Is that okay? If I give more than this, what will happen? If I give more than this, what will happen? More than 3 arguments, if I give, what will happen, guys? It will give you an error. So did you see how nicely it has been defined? Okay, so a lot of error handling has been done in this if you use this. Okay, so in real time Python programs, I've literally seen in projects and all that, they make use of this in a very very heavily. They make use of this. I've literally seen this code in many of my projects. Okay, so you try to by heart this, I mean try to memorize these method calls. Oh, sorry. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, you'll get the output as 6. Here, shall we go to the next one? We'll go to the next one.
So I have a doubt.
Yeah, tell me.
Like here, why is that not taking as the file name as the first argument?
Yeah, it is not
like as we had.
Yeah, there it had. Okay, because Python, the bare Python takes like that. So this method has made sure that this will be taken as the first arguments, because everybody knows the first one is basically a file name.
Yeah.
Why, in the sense what? It has been designed like that, so that the file, after the file name, whatever comes, that only will be, after the program name, whatever comes would be considered as an argument.
Okay.
In there,
And
it is your duty to take care of that argument 0, 1 and all that. This is a module. This is a module written by programmers so that it will fetch only those which are there after your file name.
Okay. And
Sir?
that parser word we used, is that mandatory to use only parser?
Where? No, no, not required. You can use any other
Okay.
names also. Here, no,
Okay. Yes, sir.
not necessary. You can use anything else.
Okay.
Okay, it is returning an object.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Who is this?
sir, help is equals to pass two values. Can we write anything or
You can
we
write
should
anything.
pass
No, no,
two?
not necessary. You can, that is user dependent. Whatever you want the user to know, right? You can actually pass that. You can write, you can remove that and say Kirtana likes masala dosa. Or sorry, your Lakshmi Krishnappa likes masala dosa. And when you say -H, that will get printed. That
Oh,
Lakshmi Krishnappa likes masala dosa.
okay, sir.
You are here also. This description, no, you can write whatever you want. But yeah, but generally, though you can write whatever you want, doesn't mean you must write whatever you want. You must write what this program is actually doing. Is that
Because
okay?
it was given pass two values, right? That's why.
Oh, sorry. This it should be 3, no?
Yes, sir.
Is that okay? Yeah, fine. Okay. Okay. Lakshmi Krishnappa, okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So 29. Okay. So what does this say? Star. Enter. Will accept all arguments. All kinds of, not 1, 3 and all that. All arguments. Is that okay? Enter anything. Is that okay? So let me run this code and show it to you. It will take all kinds of values. Not type. There is no type over there. Is that okay, guys? Is that okay? Now, when I remove this, even 0 arguments is also taken. Star means 0 and all. Is that okay? Let me take the next one. Guys, is it okay? 30.py. Okay, so it is plus. Okay, plus means I have given the description over here. This program will accept 1 or more arguments. 1 or more arguments. Okay, so let me run like this. It will give you an error. Okay, so when I say 1, it works. Plus means 1 or more arguments. Star means 0 or more arguments. Is that okay? Is that okay, guys? Guys, okay? Yeah, okay. So I think we have completed this session. Okay, so do the revision and practicing and all that. Okay, so tomorrow we will start with regular expression. Is that okay, guys? Everyone? Okay. Anything you want to ask me or anything? If you don't have anything to ask me, just say no so that we can stop and we can proceed. Okay, fine then. So catch you tomorrow with regular expression. Until then, take care. Bye-bye. Good night.